Hi Evan, again it's Eyes from the Mosh Pit here with the guys from Splintered. So welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
So you played your set a couple of hours ago?
Did?
Yeah.
How did that go for you guys?
Everybody.
Quite enjoyable, actually.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah, it was
pleasant,
fun.
relaxed.
I had fun, yeah.
After it's kind of like, it's done now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd were
There's
really,
always
really
that.
receptive, so that's one of the key things for us, really, is just having the crowd there. They were going
Yeah.
crazy at the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
Well, like I was
Brilliant.
saying before off camera, this is literally honest feedback. I was at the back talking to Andy about getting other interviews on different bands because everything's been a bit of a change up. And a couple of people came over to us and said that are we actually interviewing you guys because they loved the set. They
Wow.
really were so
great.
pleased with everything. So
Really nice.
that's literally honest feedback straight from people I've come straight out.
Thank you to those guys.
Yeah.
You'll get your 20 quid later.
That's why I've got to give the feedback as it is because you can't get better than that. They come
Yeah.
straight out asking about you guys. That's
Yeah,
positive. So on that note, because we've been stuck here interviewing all weekend, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, because I get to know the bands and then we get to listen to the music and the feedback and
Yeah.
everything after. In 3 words, how would you explain your live sound?
Epic cinematic metal.
Wow. Well done.
Thanks for that.
I think it well.
Is how I would describe it. That's our sort of not self-created genre, but that's sort of the moniker in which we play under.
So from that, is there any song? Because I'm in my own mind now. I'm thinking there probably isn't one single answer to this one. Is there any song that would epitomise you as a band?
Of ours or
Yes, of yours that people would.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Cambyses, which is
I would
what we-
agree.
what we kick off with in our set. I mean, the sort of concept of the band is based around sort of a multi-genre fusion thing,
Right.
and we have, as well as it obviously being a metal band, we're also progressive, but we also have a lot of world influences.
Right.
So lots of different instrumentation, lots of different.
You're talking my sorts of things because at Hammerfest we took a ukulele and a didgeridoo. So, what sort of different, random sort of instruments do you usually use that we wouldn't expect?
Well, our studio recording, which we're producing at the moment, we have Sally playing acoustic violin and viola. We have a cellist. We have a live harp. We have a live choir, and we even have an erhu, which is the single-stringed Chinese violin,
Oh,
bowed
yes.
violin. So we have that, and that's all live. It's all been properly recorded. That's not sampled. So, and there's also a bunch of stuff. I mean, everything from sort of African percussion to tablas to sitars to God knows what else.
Whatever instrument.
Yeah,
you can
pretty
get
much
hold of.
anything. Yeah,
The reason
in the
I-
kitchen sink.
Yeah, the reason I'm interested in that is because an interview I did at HHAOR, I interviewed Arthur Brown, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, and obviously with his progressive background, and he loves world music, and we were talking about Transylvanian music and a lot of things that he's interested in. So knowing that you guys try and bring different elements to it, it's a nice change because some bands it's the same guitars, bass, drums.
Well, our live instrumentation's quite unusual as well because we've
Well,
got.
I was gonna say,
we've got 7 and 8 string electric guitar. We've got 6-string fretted violin, and I'm playing 6-string fretted bass as well. So fretless bass. Fretless bass. 6-string
Remember your
fretless
own
bass.
instrument, Aaron.
Yeah.
So even the live instrumentation is quite unusual for.
Yeah. So because of the recordings with all the variety of different instrumentation using and the way you're going with the live set, how have the songs changed or adapted from?
Do you guys want to answer
Have they adapted for the?
Yeah,
live
because
show?
obviously if you're using a random assortment of world music instruments, you
Yeah.
can't necessarily play all them live on a
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So the compositions must change slightly from that recording.
Definitely,
working
yeah.
on, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we've been working on that for a while because in the beginning when we started performing live we used to use backing tracks with all of that stuff on the backing
Right.
track, but we just didn't find that it was really us. We
You'd
couldn't
rather
really
get
get
the-
into it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to find a way to just dump the backing tracks and play it all amongst us, like share the parts out and do as
Yeah.
much as we could live.
Yeah, don't depend
Just get
on
rid
the
of the
click,
rest.
no?
Yeah. So that we could also interact as musicians and just,
And also the
have
interaction.
fun rather than worrying about the backing
Yeah.
tracks, and I think it's more fun for the audience as well if
Yeah.
the music is live and it's being performed right there for you rather than coming from a recording.
Well, that's it. You do see a lot of bands where they're trying to bring the live set from the album, and they might say have the backing track next to the drum. They'll just plug it in, and off the intro starts, and it builds from there. And sometimes it can distract from the live performance.
We have tried that route, and you know there are pros and cons to everything. But I mean, as a band, we're just much more comfortable dealing with the difficulties that not having that throws up, but getting the huge bonus of being able to play together and live, and also having that. I mean, for me as the drummer, I've got so much more audience contact with no backing track there, and I can play with my band, and it's a different experience live. It's the same music, it's the same songs, and because we have Sally, she has we're sponsored by Fractal, so she has an Axe Effects unit, which basically means that her 6-string violin can be anything from an orchestra to a solo violin to an incredible heavy metal guitar. She's learnt a bunch of guitar techniques. She's great, basically.
Band in the box.
Yeah, exactly. we've got a band in the box violinist. So we are able to either emulate or actually kind of sort of Sally can play a lot of the stuff that is on the album, and I think the songs actually translate very well to being slightly stripped down, but having all of the integral elements with them. And we certainly, I think, as a band, have really clicked with the slightly more stripped down backing trackless Splintered soul.
Well, it's you guys just putting yourself out there. It's you prefer to play live, I assume. All the way, not just going like rehearsal. You want to be there on the stage, doing it as you want to, and that's where you feel at home. So surely, with you playing it as is, no matter how you can get that, works.
Yeah,
we think so.
Yeah,
and certainly from the sort of changeover where we went from backing tracks to without them, the audience reaction has kind of, I feel I've seen there's more energy there, and there's definite sort of conversation almost.
Because everything's coming from us.
Yeah.
With the compositions of the tracks, that when you do them, with the world music influences, when the progressive elements, are the compositions generally the same sorts of structures, or do they change depending on? I know I'm getting really.
We're currently there is another member of Splintered Soul, a very core member, Chris Frost, who does an awful lot of the composition, an awful lot of the writing. So I will try and answer as best I can.
I appreciate it's late on a Sunday. And
basically, it's quite tough to get those different elements in, and there's somewhat of a sort of organic try it and suck. It's almost like a suck it and see process. The last sort of 4 or 5 tracks I've sort of co-written with Chris, and he's been the main composer, and I've just kind of been there as a sounding board. And for every track we write that's 5 or 6 minutes long, we'll probably have 30-35 minutes of music we don't use.
Right.
And so it really is, does this work? Okay, no, we'll try this. Well, how about this? Well, actually, let's just scrap all of that, start with that one riff that we liked, and start again. So it's a very sort of evolutionary process, the writing.
Have you found any instrumentation that has not worked for you guys?
I think with kitchen sink.
That's in there too.
I'm just thinking, because it's not often you get a chance to actually talk about the use of different instrumentation and the way it can be used on a live environment or an album. Because most bands, it's just straight band. So it's just nice to find out how some instruments would not be feasible, and whether instruments you've tried.
Well, it depends whether it's an instrument or a sound, because we can still emulate the sound of an instrument without necessarily having that instrument there.
Yes.
So, for example, with the erhu, we can still try and do that with the sound, with the violin itself, but with a synthetic sound of the erhu. So we can still try and emulate key parts of the tracks without necessarily having that, 30 different instruments backstage.
Even the bass, you sometimes take little parts which are in the
so we're trying to move around.
and-
So, for example, because we've only got a limited number of notes we can all play at the same time, and sometimes,
although we have
in the
tried
mix-
to stretch that,
and in the mix we've got more notes necessary than we can actually physically play. So we try to, just play the important ones essentially, as much as we can.
So is this just a one-off gig today? Has it been just come here for this and then it's back home, or is it?
Yep.
Exactly.
Right, so what obviously new album in the
Yeah.
pipeline?
It
Is that
is.
something that you're just going to write over for the next few months, or is it? I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm trying to say
No.
Only with that
sometime-
simple.
It's that age-old question. It's coming towards the end of the year. Is it a case of that you can sit back, take stock of what's happened throughout the year, and sit back with the writing aspects rather than doing the live? Or
God,
is it-
that sounds so luxurious. No, Law, which is the album, 10 songs, has been. It kicked off in July 2011 in the studio, and we are coming towards the finishing stages of that. Yes, it has taken that long. Our producer, Rupert Matthews, who two notable bands who've recorded in the same studio, Porcupine Tree recorded The Incident there, and Craig the Filth recorded Darkly and vice versa. So we're under his watch, and we've been in and out of his studio for the last couple of years, recording stuff for this sort of monumental album. And Chris is actually there now, working on some more stuff. It's just why he's not here. But yeah, it's not so much that it's the fact that this Law is the name of the album. It's a huge thing for us, and it'll be done when it's done. We're hoping by the end of the year it will be out.
It's the biggest project to date.
Yes, without a single shadow of a doubt, including the creation of continents or space travel or anything like that. In terms of human achievement, Law's sort of there.
Blood, sweat and tears.
Absolutely,
Literally.
all of them in vast amounts.
Well, the key is as long as it's coming together and it's something that you guys as a whole can go, this is something we can look back on in 10, 20 years time and go, it took so long to, but it's still what we want.
We're very, very proud of it, and I'm not sort of underestimating anything when I say literally we've just put everything we had into it. So and then some. So I think we're looking forward to it almost more than anybody else. But it'll be with us very soon.
When it's ready, it will be ready. So when that is eventually ready, would that mean potential mini tours, UK tours?
We are
European
hoping.
Tours?
To get. We want to be doing as many festivals as possible next year to try and get this
Anything
out
you're
there.
allowed to announce?
Not as yet, but
None of you are giving anything away.
No, it's terrible, isn't it?
It's
There's no exclusives, is there?
It's not that.
But we will let you know.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it's great spread. It's just sometimes you just want someone just to say, oh, well, look, and you go, oh, were you meant to say that? No, well, that'll go in the interview.
But no, if people keep up to date with us on our Facebook page, Splintered Soul, then any new announcements will be there, and there's little sneak peeks, so little bits of studio recordings and little words from the band, the odd peek into a rehearsal, which is always quite funny. And so if people want to keep up to date with the band, come and check us out on Facebook.
Fantastic. And I take it you go all over the country whenever you can.
Pretty much.
Where are you guys based?
It varies.
It's all in the southeast around London, that area basically.
Miles away
Where
from
we're based.
Manchester.
Miles away from here, and Manchester.
Well, you're not far from here.
No, I'm only about 250 miles. No, I'm based out in the sticks in East Anglia, and we've got Aaron in Guildford sort of area. You've got Sally in Brighton. You've got Nick in
Bexley.
Yeah, Bexley. Woo! And Erica is in London because
Yeah, she's the one in the middle.
Does that cause many problems when it comes to rehearsing and getting together, being distance-wise?
We just do it, don't we? These
Yeah.
days.
For it.
It's just what has to be done. It's something you look forward to. You just got to make it happen.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. So thank you very much. I'm going to let
Thank
you
you.
guys go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
And we'll catch up when the album's eventually out there.
Wonderful.